Trams and fellow Trekkies, my name is Weyoun and welcome to part 3 of my Star Trek Antagonists tier list. Last time we took a look at the TNG Next Generation Antagonists and the TNG films and concluded there. This is our current standing of antagonists slash villains, and I gotta say, S rank is looking kind of heavy. And with today's episode, it's gonna get heavier. Today we're taking a look at the DS9 antagonists and villains, and so yeah, I'm just gonna say right now, I don't think there's gonna be anyone below a B. There might not even be anyone below an A. I'm curious how I'm gonna rank this list. It's gonna be interesting to say the least. But so let's go ahead, reiterate the rules of this tier list. Starting off with, I do not quantify a species or a race. I look at individuals and how they are written, and then I try to justify it. So there's going to be some rambling for sure. There's also going to be, I'm just putting them up on the list as they're ordered. I'm not shuffling the order around per like, oh, this one was better than that one. I'm not doing that on this tier list. I know I did that with the uniforms and the series. I'm not doing that here, merely because, once again, this tier list was sponsored by a friend of mine. No joke. Night Halcyon, he paid for these video series to be done. So again, you'd think I'd want to go above and beyond for that. There's so many characters. I have 70 here. So I'm not going to rank that. No, I'm not going to start any firestorms in the comments. So plus I believe once I get out of 20th, and I think after Enterprise, I'm fairly certain the firestorms will definitely start. But so today we are looking at DS9 and its antagonists that I felt was worth a ranking. Again, strictly my opinion. So please feel free in the comments to peacefully and politely have a different opinion. But we're gonna go ahead and start off with the one that was there at the start. Possibly, I'm going to hammer it home here, but possibly one of the greatest Star Trek villains to ever grace the screen, and that is Gul Dukat. Gul Dukat was the original prefect of Terok Nor, oversaw the occupation of Bajor, and throughout 7 seasons of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, gave us a range of, is this guy a villain? Is this guy just an asshole? Or is he misunderstood? And by the series finale, he had gone from sympathetic, I would argue, sympathetic, to full-blown praised villain. His character arc throughout the whole show, and a lot of these characters, again, Gul Dukat's character arc throughout the whole series is, I genuinely feel like people need to study on how to write an antagonist, because initially you got the sense that he was very full of himself. Okay, he was full of himself, is full of himself, and he just owned this. He aura farmed, to quote the internet here, modern internet term. He aura farmed heavy. And there were moments where you sided with him, where he would side with our Starfleet heroes. And even there were moments there where he was with Bajorans that you had a general sense of maybe he's apologetic, genuinely feeling sorry for what happened. But then there'd be cracks, like when he had the Cardassians join the Dominion to bring Cardassia back from the ashes, as he put it, to be an actual power in the Alpha Quadrant. And then the loss of his daughter sent him spiraling to when he started a cult of the Pal Wraiths and finally became essentially their emissary. There in the fire caves where he fought Cisco, and it was clear as day that he's gone. He is now a full-blown villain. So where else can I put Gul Dukat other than S rank? I mean, I don't think Deep Space Nine would have been as good a show without Gul Dukat as a reoccurring character. And Mark Alamo did a fantastic job portraying this character. I love this character arc. I love watching Deep Space Nine start to finish and just watching this whole character arc. Even knowing where it's going to end is great to watch. And now, God, oh, this character that I love to hate so much. If Gul Dukat's a character that I hate to love for just what he represents and how his character ends, here's a character I love to hate, and that is Kai Winn. The original Space Karen. She comes in, her first episode at the end of season 1 of Deep Space Nine is a religious, hardcore conservative religious figure who does not appreciate Keiko O'Brien teaching that the prophets in the wormhole are anything but they're wormhole aliens. She doesn't appreciate that. She doesn't appreciate Bajoran children being there. And suddenly Deep Space Nine, even though it was done in the 90s, certainly starts to feel a little bit more modern. It's close to home and just starts this whole thing. The school gets bombed and you watch as this character, who is a hardcore conservative religious figure, suddenly become head of the Bajoran religious community. And you just watch as she wants what Ben Sisko has, this communication with the prophets. She's deeply devout in her religion, but you also sense that she wants power, even though she is at Kai, the highest person, like highest religious figure you can be. She still wants more. And at the end, she does try to redeem herself in the fire caves when she joins with Dukat, not knowing that she took him to bed. Oopsie. And starts worshiping the Prowl Wraiths, trying to bring them about and to destroy the Celestial Temple, the Bajoran wormhole. And realizing that what she has done, she tells Sisko how to destroy how to seal the Prowl Wraiths. She pays for it with her life, but in that one instant, she does kind of redeem herself. But having the actress that played Nurse Ratchet from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest be this constant reoccurring character that is just so enjoyable to just like groan and eye roll. Even the characters, when they hear she's here, they're like, great. I love a good character to hate, and she nails it. I gotta put up here with S2. Like, just as Dukat, I hate to love, Kai Winn, I love to hate. So yeah, I seriously enjoy Kai Winn as a villain. She is. She's definitely an antagonistic. I wouldn't say she's not a villain until towards the very end of the show. But even at the beginning, you get the feeling that this is a character that you're going to be like, oh, please tell me there's not. Oh, she's back. Yay. Like, you just get the feeling that she's, even there's an assassination plot in, I think, season 2, possibly 3, that you get the sense she's behind of, but no concrete proof comes of it. So, again, she's one to watch out for, but absolutely an S rank in her writing and motivations. I love to hate, I love to hate Kai Winn. Next up, as a reoccurring antagonist, Mirror Kira, the intendant of Deep Space Nine, or Terok Nor in the Mirror universe. We meet her in the initial crossover, and boy howdy, is she a character. She is just flaunts her sexuality. She's not afraid to use that to get what she wants. She pops up every now and then. She's there when the Alliance or the Terran Rebellion starts. Pardon me. She does lose power, becomes a slave of sorts. Or at the very least loses power. She's a prisoner of the Alliance of Regent Worf. And eventually, like, there's zero redeeming qualities. She kills Mirror Brunt mercilessly. She kills Mirror, I believe, all of the Ferengi, their Mirror versions. Quark, Rom, Nog, Brunt. I believe she is responsible for all their deaths. But I don't think she pops up enough to be quite an S rank. Like, she is enjoyable to watch, to say the least, but just in the fact that we don't get enough of her, I'm gonna put her in A. We don't get enough of her. We don't get enough of her. Which, again, you don't want to overuse a good villain, which she is. She is a great villain. But I feel like with Dukat and Kai Winn, there is no character arc with her. She is bad to the bone 100%, and she stays there. There is no redeeming qualities about her. She's evil through and through, and she will do whatever she can to just regain the power that she lost. Again, the mirror novels, there are several that detail in the expanded universe that detail a lot of her trying to climb back to power and whatnot. But again, not going to talk about that. Not going to weigh in my vote. So I believe mirror Nerys, intended Nerys, is absolutely A rank. Next up on my list, I'm going to do a little bit of sorting here, just because I feel like they go together. Admiral Leighton. Yeah, Admiral Leighton we'll cover next. So here we have another instance of a bad admiral. He was Benjamin Sisko's former commanding officer during a previous conflict, the Zenkethi War. Got Sisko essentially on the track for command. So he's responsible for putting Sisko where he is. But then the threat of the Dominion conflict, the threat of the changelings, scares him to the point where he tries to overthrow the Federation government and instill Starfleet as a military presence to protect the Federation. So far to the point that he tries to do a coup d'etat against the Federation president, has Sisko locked away, has a Starfleet ship fire on another, even attempting to destroy it to protect the Federation. I feel like he's kind of like a better version of Admiral Dougherty in this case, because he does have his mindset's right that the changelings are a threat, but he goes about it completely the wrong way. There's actually an interesting piece of fan fiction where he succeeded and there was a Federation civil war, which is quite interesting to read. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's a 2-part episode. We see that we kind of hope that Ben can get through to him, but he ended up isn't succeeding, and Leighton is stripped of his rank and title and arrested. I'm gonna say Leighton is, again, I feel like Leighton could have been a reoccurring character, or at the very least, like, we could have had build up to Leighton. I wish we had build up to Leighton to get to know him more. Then we get to this 2-parter and we see what he's culminating, but it just kind of happens. So he might actually be the one. Honestly, like, as much as I like the character and the actor, I feel like he goes in B just because he is a good villain. Good villain. He doesn't match up to what's on the list so far. He, by far, out of the bad admirals, Cartwright he absolutely was a superior villain there, with Chang and whatnot. I do believe Cartwright. But with bad admirals, he's definitely miles above Dougherty. But I do believe I just wish we got, again, like Mirror Nerys, I wish we got more of him. Like, he had Starfleet cadets destabilizing things. Like, he went about it, tried to do everything the right way, but within a 2-parter episode, he was caught, arrested, his plan fell apart. So yeah, he is a B villain, good villain, just not quite there, because, again, didn't get enough of him, and I felt like because he was defeated so quickly, not quite there. Next up on our list, I've gone through 4 of these, and I'm kind of impressed that I'm getting through so many of these, but forgive me on that. Next up, we're switching over, especially talking about changelings. We have the leader of the Dominion herself, the female changeling. That's all she's been identified of. We meet her fairly early in Deep Space Nine. I think season 3 is when we finally get our introduction to the changelings. and the Dominion. The driving force, like the changelings are gods to the Dominion, to the Vorta and the Jem'Hadar. She is the ultimate leader, the driving force behind all the conflict. She pops up sporadically here and there, until finally, through the last season, over the overarching Dominion War conflict, she is there at Cardassia, essentially giving all the instructions, being the general behind it all. And we see how evil this character truly can be. She forces Odo. She's trying to convince Odo to join the Great Link again. Can't seem to do it. She brings up his feelings for Kira Nerys by taking her form and forcing him to admit it. So he now has those feelings at the forefront, which starts that whole arc. And then when we get to the point where the Great Link has been infected, they are maintaining their form, which will eventually kill them. We see just how far she's willing to go to achieve her goals. When the Cardassians switch sides during the final conflict, she orders the immediate termination of the entire species, of the entire population of Cardassia Prime, with no hesitation. She's just fed up with the Cardassians and completely orders their extermination, which, okay, wow, okay. She completely, like, as soon as the Breen come into the picture, the Cardassians become second-class citizens is immediately, like, a secondary thought, just a means to an end. She is truly just this, she has no remorse for her actions. She does not care whatsoever. She has I think she even has a general, like, the only people she cares about are her fellow changelings. That's it. And again, a species that is revered as gods among the lower classes of the Dominion, and her prejudices against Solid take full front against this whole conflict. I gotta give her an S. Just again, because she's responsible for the death of millions of people. Her whole goal behind this conflict, she doesn't care. She wants the Alpha Quadrant to stabilize it. And the fact that on the last episode, she straight up was like, nope, I'm not taking any chances. Cardassians, go. They have to be wiped out. Wipe them all out. Don't care. Is such just a moment where even when I first watched it, had to go, whoa. Is genuinely a chilling character to show that she has absolutely zero remorse. She doesn't care. Which, again, considering she's dying, but she does stand trial. She she goes to prison for all the crimes she committed, but still, she absolutely is an S-rank character in terms of an antagonist. But speaking of the Vorta, and the one that was absolutely loyal to a fault, Weyoun, one of, surprisingly, only 2 Jeffrey Combs characters I have on this list. Considering all the other characters he's played, Weyoun and his multiple iterations. I believe we meet Weyoun 4 is the first version we meet, when a bunch of rogue Jem'Hadar capture some components to activate an Iconian gateway in the Gamma Quadrant. So he enlists crew of Deep Space Nine to help. They join up with the Jem'Hadar. He is then promptly killed for questioning the Jem'Hadar's loyalty. We then meet further iterations that seemingly die throughout the rest of the show. We even got one that thought the Dominion was wrong and tried to defect, which was interesting. But Jeffrey Combs plays him so wonderfully. He is a diplomat that will make promises that he may not deliver on, but he is committed to the Dominion, genetically forced to be committed to the Dominion. I love Weyoun as a character, especially when he's interacting with Dukat and Damar. He's just so wonderful to watch and see oily? I don't think oily is the term I want to use, but he very much is, he's very strategic in his words and his plans. and I do think he gets an A rank. He's not S. I don't think he's quite S rank, but I love the character. I do believe that he is on par with some great villains. He just doesn't quite hit that mark. And in the show, he dies, unfortunately. Garrick kills him. The female founder says that's the last clone of Weyoun. So Weyoun's just gone at that point. Because I don't feel like he ever got his hands dirty. I never really got the feeling that he was willing to get his hands dirty. None of the Vorta, I don't think, got their hands dirty. That's what the Jem'Hadar are for. So why would the Vorta get their hands dirty? But moving on to another Jeffrey Combs character, Brunt, FCA, an antagonist of Quark. More than anything, he made this list just because, again, Jeffrey Combs is his. I think this is his third character from Deep Space Nine, but the one of two that only ended up recurring. He is a hardcore Ferengi in that he follows the rules of acquisition to the letter. Women do not have any say. There are no unions. Profit first. He thinks Quark is a rogue element in Ferengi culture. Doesn't believe he lives up to it. He even strips Quark of his title and can't earn a profit in his bar after it's revealed that, oh, your brother formed a union. You allowed this union to happen. That's it. It's all stripped. You're done. Shows up when Quark's mother starts making a profit. Until Rom is named Grand Nagus. I believe it's when Quark was rumored to be named Grand Nagus. Brunt comes to grovel at his feet. So he absolutely is a bootlicker, but he will absolutely just ruin your day if he thinks you are straying the path of being a pure capitalist. He would love. Nope, not gonna. Nope, nope. I almost went down a path. I'm not gonna open that can of worms. As much as I love Brunt and the Ferengi episodes of Deep Space Nine because they're great, I feel like there are much better Ferengi characters. I gotta put him B again. Great character, good character. I love Brunt. In terms of an antagonist, like when you look at this list and you look at Brunt, it doesn't quite match up. He is a perfect antagonist to Quark. Don't get me wrong. But compared to all these other antagonists, doesn't quite match up to a point. So I gotta give him a B, which again is good. Is a good rank. But I do feel like he just doesn't quite hit the A mark. Just misses it. One of the last two characters we have on the Deep Space Nine list is Michael Eddington. This was an interesting character that when I was looking up Star Trek villains, I had almost forgot about until I realized, yeah, he was a reoccurring character for quite some time. And yeah, he perfectly fits this list. Michael Eddington was assigned to Deep Space Nine, I believe, in season 3. Yeah, because he was there at Sisko's promotion. He was assigned as Starfleet's chief of security to represent Starfleet. Odo and him kind of clashed a bit until they started to work together. Until finally, towards a point, it's revealed he was working for the Maquis this whole time. Leaves the station, gives this beautiful speech. I think it's beautiful that the Federation is more insidious than the Borg, that you assimilate through lies, just peaceful whatnot. It's quite interesting and damning, and he's got a point. He does have a point. He will then show up a couple more times later to be a thorn in Sisko's side. Sisko holds a grudge because he worked with the man, did not see this change. And to the point where Eddington compared him to Javert from Les Miserables. And he would end up being caught after Sisko completely made a planet of Maquis uninhabitable. So he surrendered himself so that Sisko would stop. And then I would say he kind of redeems himself when some missiles targeted at Cardassia are detected in the Badlands. And I might be paraphrasing this, but I do remember him and Sisko team up. They go track down this Maquis base, and Eddington gives his life so that the rest can live and survive. Watching this, like, it was sort of like kind of like Ro Laren in a point. Watching this rogue officer to a point become a Maquis, you never got that impression. It was such a surprise when he turned that you wondered if he was with the Maquis this whole time, or if it was gradual, or you never knew. And just his last 2 episodes, I gotta give him an A rank. He's not quite S rank, but to watch this character that you see, you don't really get the vibe of that he's a bad guy, but just to watch him throughout, there's the twist, and then seeing him toy with Sisko in a way, it is wonderful to watch, and I do appreciate that. Like, he is a great character. Not an S tier villain or antagonist, but I would say a great character nonetheless. And last but not least, we come to the end of Deep Space Nine's characters with Luther Sloan, the controversial Section 31 agent that attempted to recruit, or successfully recruit, Julian Bashir into his ranks, and this was like late Deep Space Nine. I think season 5, 6. I think 5 would show up occasionally until his untimely passing. His whole arc and the introduction of Section 31 still kind of grips people in a bit. Still controversial, especially with Deep Space Nine. To me, it's interesting that we have Starfleet intelligence is a thing, but then there's something deeper underneath that believes the ends justify the means. Essentially is equivalent to the Romulans' Tal Shiar, or the Cardassians' Obsidian Order, that are this secret cabal that will do whatever it takes to protect the Federation, whatever it takes. And they're the ones responsible for the virus that infects the changelings. They infected Odo, who passed it on to Great Link. And then Sloan was so willing to protect the cure, when Bashir and O'Brien enter his mind to find it, he essentially tries to kill himself so the secret can't be found. He believes idealists are what will destroy the Federation. For better or for worse, the creation of Section 31, I think, is still going to be a controversial topic to this day. In Deep Space Nine, at the very least, it was interesting, and I still wonder, like, if it stayed the way it was, I think it would have been interesting. But then later iterations, and we won't get into that here, we'll get into that there. But as a character, I want to say he's A rank. I'm going to give him an A, because his whole introduction set the Star Trek mythos, gave us Section 31. Bashir refused to believe that it could exist, and it's like, no, it very well could. His whole adage of, if you read the original Starfleet charter, it's right there. And it's very much just again, the whole Section 31 debate is shaky ground for Trekkies, but Sloan as a character, his episodes are always interesting to watch, to see, like, oh, we're going to get some spy stuff. And we do. I do think the last episode where Bashir and O'Brien enter his mind, his dying mind, to find the cure, is a little far-fetched. But again, like, Bashir's like, we can have all the secrets here, we can find Section 31 and whatnot. He tries to toy with Bashir, be like, well, here, all the Section 31 secrets. Just goes to show the lengths he will go. I think Sloan is a great character. Not an S tier villain, but again, he is a great character, kind of like Eddington, but he is absolutely I would absolutely believe the antithesis of the Federation. Do I think Section 31 should exist? In my personal opinion, I don't think you get the Federation without it. I think as much as you want to think of the Federation Starfleet as this utopia and perfect organization, I think deep down there are these people working behind the scenes. I mean, as an American, we have the CIA, which, I mean, yeah, we've got media telling us what they do, and I don't even think that scratches the surface, but I don't think you get this society, the utopian society that the Federation promises, without people like Sloan. Do I think it should exist? No. Personally, I don't think it should exist. But do I think it would exist? Absolutely. I do think it would exist. So yeah, that covers the Deep Space Nine antagonists. I'm actually surprised I got 2 in B. I thought I would get 1, but I like where these turned out. I actually didn't ramble as much as I thought. I would say their list is a little shorter. Next up is Voyager, which I think had more antagonists than Deep Space Nine. DS9 just had all these memorable, but they kept them short. They kept the list short. But Voyager, as I look at what I've got, I feel like those are the ones that need to stand out to me. And I keep looking through the list and go, yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, I could cover them now, but I feel like I should keep it to how I've been doing it, as in each series gets its own video. So I'm going to stop there. Our current rankings, as you see, S rank is pretty heavy. A rank is not too far behind. B rank, C rank, and then, of course, God sits in D. I'm not trying to say anything there. Just that's how I feel about that character. But I promise you, with Voyager, as I look at it, I promise you, Voyager is going to be a lot more spread out. I could just look at that list and just be like, yeah, Voyager is going to be a little bit more spread out. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I get some comments that, you know, we can spark up some debate and whatnot. Peaceful discourse and whatnot. But if you liked the video, hit like. If you really liked it, I'd appreciate it if you hit subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when the next video goes up. And also, I go live 3 days a week, so hope to see you drop in. I stream some video games just to be an entertainer, so I hope to see you there. And folks, as we say at the end, I shall see you next cycle. This is Weyoun, out.